May the God known to each of us provide the strength and wisdom to perform the duties and fulfill the responsibilities required by our oaths of office. May our actions be pleasing to God and meet the expectations of the citizens we serve. Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go ahead and call our meeting to order for July 16, 2024. Council members, you have minutes from our regular council meeting as well as the work session before you for your approval. What's your pleasure?
Make a motion that we accept as presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is public comments. Jacob Mitchell, 703 Water Street. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for letting her know what I asked last week about the minutes. She came in and showed me how to do that, and we had a good long discussion. I just wanted to do something that not many people get up here and do, and it's to actually praise you for the job that you actually do. Because I'm out in the community, and people, I was telling Rachel this earlier, people complain all the time. People don't have trust in the way the process works. And I can tell you right now on camera, in front of everybody, I've seen how the process works, and it's just not as fast as you would like it to be. You all know this. People are impatient. And it's always worked when I've asked a question. I've always got it answered. It doesn't get answered in a timely manner that we think it should, but it's just like anything with the prayer. We do the prayer, we ask God for help. God says, you ain't going to get it in a day, you're going to get it in a month or 2 weeks or whenever it is. The point is that I wanted to say thank you for showing me how to get the minutes today. I think it'd be really cool, like we were talking, to put a link or something in the newsletter. Also, I thought that was a really good idea last week or the last meeting when you mentioned about educating the public on the $22.05 million for the sewer system. That's newsletter worthy. I think people want to be educated, need to be educated, because like I was telling Rachel, I think it's important that people give you all a fair shake, and not enough people do. It's unfair, but it's unfortunately politics, so you're not going to get everyone to like you. I did have Dory Holman over on Newton. I was asking today, she said the dog park is having, they're out of doggy bags to like clean up the poop. And there's a lot of poop missiles over there apparently, so if they could restock the doggy bags, stuff like that, to make sure to clean up the poop. Then I was talking to Rachel earlier also about the newsletter. A lot of people, it just loaded up the brand new one for July, and I know that's not you all, it's a third party. She's already said she's going to reach out and fix it, but the seniors have said that they can't access or do a lot of the programs because they don't know they're going on until we get it like the 20th. So, because like last month, I didn't get my newsletter until I think like June 19th or June 20th, and by the time it happened, I mean, heck, a lot of the events were over. But I just wanted to say thank you for all that you all do. And one thing, I've said this a couple times before, and I think there's been some misunderstanding on this, is I know that Melody Fry and Jason Beater is doing the thing, the wall mural over there. And my brother's girlfriend is potentially going to be doing a wall mural on the other side of the street if they agree to do it, to beautify the village and make it look like a really nice place that it is. One thing I would really love to see, and I understand the rules and the regulations of having to be specific colors, but if we could repaint fire hydrants. I know it sounds like something that's stupid and small, but it'll stick out, and it'll really show that where they are, for one, because most people don't even know we have over 80 in the village. But just something small, just to beautify the environment. And that's really all. I just wanted to point that out. It's because I was afraid that there's some misunderstanding, that I do realize there's code that they can't be certain color and stuff like that, but just to repaint them. That's all.
Thank you for your comments. Does anyone else have, the only person who's signed to speak, is there anyone else who wants to speak anything and not on our agenda this evening? If not, council members, you have department updates in your packets, and also was sent to you earlier. I just want to say to the Public Works Department, Danny, and the Street Department, Sanitation, as well as the Stormwater and Sanitary Board, it has been really nasty weather work, and they've been very cautious about how they're monitoring their employees outside. That's appreciated. And also for them watching out for each other. We want to make sure to take care of those guys during this extreme heat, but also commend them for being proactive during the time as well. If there's no questions for anyone report-wise, Chief, I'll also say I received a few phone calls just in terms of you guys' traffic control on July the 4th. The accident happened, super unfortunate. The kid who passed away was a fantastic kid, fantastic student at Midland, very well liked, and it was an unfortunate accident, but your folks handled it very well. Reconstruction of the scene, getting the road back open in a timely manner. I know it happened at the worst possible time, but even through all that, the traffic was seamless. They might have had to wait a little longer, but not much, and it was very much appreciated and very much appreciated by the families who I've talked to as well at the scene, that you guys handled everything professionally, and they appreciated your officers' kindness and thoughtfulness during the time that they had a pretty bad loss. So make sure to pass that along to your guys. Their work is not gone unnoticed by us, the council, administration, as well as the public, and that's every week. We hear that every week. We hear the same thing too about Public Works, but that being the circumstance that it was, I wanted to make sure that got mentioned.
Thank you.
We do not have old business. We do have several items of new business, and most of these we've talked about in work session about what's coming up. The first item, however, is, and we've done this year to year, the approval of school resource officer agreement with the Board of Education. I'm going to let Lacey speak to this. If the chief wants to talk about it as well, we can. As you all know, we've been kind of bolstering our police presence. This will give us two school resource officers, and when the vocational school opens up, and as other things continue to develop, we're going to continue to have those talks with the Board of Education about having resource officers on the ground. And so if either one of you want to speak to that, you can.
Well, I could begin by saying this, the addition of the new elementary school in the village made it to where, and of course, we've always echoed the sentiment, we'd love to have a police officer in every school. So what we decided to do, we're training, Charlie C. has taken an interest in and has always had an interest in our elementary schools. And we feel it important to provide coverage. So we're gonna have keep Todd over at the middle school, but we're gonna have Charlie. He is gonna be over all three of the elementary schools, and he will split time between all of them and coordinate with the faculty. And it's the world we live in now. It's almost mandatory that we plan for the worst and be ready for the best. So that's all I have, Lacey.
And the reason I was involved in the project is because there's grant money for one of the SROs that we've been applying for every year. The department gives us, I think it's $15,000 to help offset some of the costs of that overtime for being at the school. The chief took the initiative to go and speak with the Board of Education, the Cabell County Board of Education, who has actually agreed to pay for one of the school resource officers for their overtime, which makes it easier for us to be able to afford the two. So we're still going to be applying for the JAG grant money, the Justice Administration grant, to get for one of the school resource officers, and the other one will be provided by the Cabell County Board of Education. And I believe that's the agreement that's in front of you now, is the agreement between us and the board.
Not only the overtime, but every hour that officer is there, the Board of Education will be paying for that officer.
Just so you all know too, for full transparency, as they open their other two facilities, I've had a chance to speak with the new superintendent, and I'll say this too, I've told a few of you this, I can't say enough good about Tim Hardesty. I think he'll do a fantastic job. He has already indicated his willingness to reinstate some things that were taken out of budgets and whatnot. And he's indicated the interest in the school board having, paying for those resource officers as they come online. He understands the role that our officers will be taking on, and there is going to be a dialogue about the money that's available to school boards to pay for those positions. And although I know that we don't mind, because we want a resource officer in the schools, them having skin in the game and them working along with us in tandem and providing funding certainly helps out to have us more officers on the ground, more, you know, we're not backfilling patrol positions and things like that. So those will be dedicated positions when it's all said and done, and the board will have financial interest in those. If not, what I'm hoping for obviously is that they foot the bill as this Homeland Security, these Homeland Security issues have taken front and center in some of these school shootings and whatnot. But we'll continue those discussions.
I've never thought about it till tonight. What about the school that's out at the park? Who's responsible for that, us or the state police?
Well, it's not through the Board of Education, of course. We do respond to calls out there. Usually it's behavior problems.
But it's not gonna be like part of the JAG or anything like that?
No, that's
Just be
a
part of the police.
that's a secure facility anyway, and run outside of the Board of Education. They have their own security measures in place. But as the chief said, they respond out there. We don't have a role in, I guess for lack of a better word, chief disciplining those
Yeah.
kids.
We probably
the
only-
census out there is not near what any of the other schools are either.
I just didn't know that was.
We
part of
probably
something
only
we have to
average
cover.
maybe 2 or 3 calls a year there. I mean, it's pretty self-contained.
Good, thank you.
What you have before you tonight is the approval of the school resource officer agreement with the Board of Education. I'll entertain a motion as such.
I make a motion that we approve the resource officer agreement.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So this is committing for till 2026, is that correct? Okay. And then, this is middle school and elementary?
Yep,
Just clarify.
middle school and elementary.
Okay.
Todd will be full-time at the middle school.
And then
Charlie
Probably all three. Okay.
Charlie
I just didn't see the elementary.
supervising 3 schools.
So-
Yep. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is, one of those items we discussed in work session. The bids have come back in. The 2 bids that you have before you is from Park Chevrolet, Richmond, Virginia, and Colonial Chevrolet in Chester, Virginia. Danny, did you want to speak to this item?
Yeah, we had several quotes in the last several weeks, and the local people just did not submit a bid today, so. But anyway, the lowest we had previously was in the range of that 53,000 Colonial Chevrolet. That's the one I recommend, and I called them today, they said they would deliver the vehicle at no cost.
So the before you is the entertain a motion to accept the bid from Colonial Chevrolet in Chester, Virginia.
I'll second. But just clarify, what is that vehicle? What's the
It's for stormwater.
what's the specific vehicle though? What is it?
It's a 2500 Chevrolet,
Okay.
4-wheel drive.
We have a motion and a second to approve the bid from Colonial Chevrolet, Chester, Virginia, in the amount of $53,871.91. If there's no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next item is consideration of approval of bid for a mini excavator. Danny, I'll let you speak to that as well.
Okay, we had 3 bidders. Anderson offered bids on 2 different machines. And the low bid was state equipment for a Kubota. And it has the attachments that we asked for. Caterpillar attachments were extra to this number they got, so they were quite a bit different from state equipment. So my recommendation is state equipment for the Kubota.
Is I'll go.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll entertain a motion as such.
I'll move to purchase the boat from state equipment.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second for discussion?
Yeah, just wanted to question, are we trading in this, that is trading as
Yes.
part of this purchase, doesn't matter who we're buying from?
The
Okay.
trade-in value was $30,000.
Okay.
Yep. Rick, did you second that? Was it?
No, I
Okay,
seconded.
we have a motion now, we do need a second.
Yes.
Okay, Rick seconds. Any further discussion, questions, or otherwise? So you're saying you second the motion?
Yes, sir.
Sir, okay, making sure. I thought the head shaking it, yes.
Yeah.
All right, just making sure. If there's no further questions, all in favor of the bid from State Equipment for the Kubota, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is consideration of approval of bid for paving St. Andrews Drive. This is also one of those projects that we talked about. Danny, I'm gonna let you speak to that as well.
Okay, we received the bids 2 weeks ago prior to the last council meeting, but we didn't get it on the agenda last time. So, this time, Brandon Terry was the low bidder for St. Andrews at $20,440.
So we'll need a motion to accept the bid from Brandon Terry Paving.
I'll make that motion.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions otherwise?
How far up the street does that go?
St. Andrews?
It goes from St. Andrews, top of the hill, all the way down to the cul-de-sac where Jim Kane lives.
For 20,000?
That's what he bid.
Okay. That seemed like
That's a long street.
it's a long street, I
Right.
mean,
Quite a bit different
couple
than the
miles
other,
long.
but, that was his bid, so.
okay.
We have a motion on the floor for that.
We have to do that in a second. Yes.
Oh, we do have a motion and a second, okay. Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Consideration of approval for bid for paving Depot Street, garage lot is your next, item for consideration. Danny, you can speak to that as well.
Also, Brandon Terry, was also low on that, and we received that, bid also 2 weeks ago. And his bid was $32,248. And that's just repaving the part that's already paved.
So we'll need to entertain a motion to accept the bid from Brandon Terry for the amount of $32,000 and change for the Depot Street lot. Motion and a second. Further discussion?
Is there, specs on thickness, I guess? There's specs for,
Yes.
for paving.
Yes,
You
2 inches
can't
and
just say
there's-
come in at,
They tell you we're gonna put the stone, take it out, put the stone in, and he'll put 4 inches of base and 2 inches of wearing. And then St. Andrews is mill the edges and place 2 inches of wearing.
If there is no further discussion or questions, we do have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is consideration of approval of budget, resolution 2024-09 for general fund budget revision number 1. And John, I'll let you speak to that. There's copies of that by your, seat there as well.
This was done after the agenda. This is the first revision for the general fund budget of 2025, and it is a requirement of the state auditor's office that we revise the projected fund balance that we did during the budget session, which I had at $1,474,000 and, excuse me, $1,474,372, and we, as of today, without the books actually being complete and closed, we're up $96,030. So that's why there is an increase, and with that increase, I did a decrease in the contributions coming from the sales tax dollars.
I'll make a motion to accept the general fund budget revision, number 1.
Motion and a second on the floor. There's no further discussion or questions. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item, we go through this every year. Just so you know, the coverages that we have when we're new insurance, you've got your property, commercial inland, general liability, commercial automotive for our fleet, umbrella insurance in case we hit our insurance, our max out mark, so the umbrella is above and beyond. Workers' compensation, you have cyber liability, and then the total estimated premium, I'll give you in just a second. I wanted to say, there were several of these things that fluctuated over the year. We do have some experience on our insurance coverages due to pending litigation, pending workers' compensation coverages. And with what's on the books for next year, you'll start seeing some of those claims roll off. Even though we had an increase in total premium this year, cyber liability went down. There's only one or two companies quoting workers' compensation in the state of West Virginia now for governing entities. So I know we've talked about this before, but I'm just kind of reiterating. But our overall increase is about 15%. John, is that what he said? I think it was 15%. And our total annual premium for our book of business on insurance was $421,601. That is a 15% increase, but again, it's due to some of our experience with pending litigation, workers' compensation claims that are still on the books that, knock on wood, obviously we see roll off next year as some of those things that hit your EMOD close out. So the ask here is to approve our insurance renewal for the village in the amount of $421,601. And I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Can you just clarify who that's with again?
That's what I was going.
Well, you have, it's.
Well, I know we go through someone that sets it
Yeah,
up.
this goes through Assured Partners, and
Assured Partners,
what they do is they shop all of the different coverages out, and then of course we meet with them a few times. We go through the renewal at the end. We've even talked to them about making some changes just with property coverages we didn't understand, but when we look through those, and when I say this, I ask them about structures at the park. And I understand why some things are covered, but there's dugouts that are valued at $6,000. Well, if it's a block building, we're not gonna hit our deductible if something happens to it. But at the same time, if we say, well, just take those off, it's $20 or $30 per building. So in the grand scheme of things, the stuff that they're insuring, the fleet, and our workers' compensation coverages, those are all in line with what the market says, and due to some of our experience over the past year or two, because those claims take time to roll off, we had an increase this year, but next year, and our cyber liability went down this year. And I'll say this too, it's because John, myself, and Joe Witt, and everybody has been making changes, and Joe's been making changes to the network to ensure our security, so when we pass those things along from their recommendation from year to year, they dropped our coverage this year in premium, so that was that's a win for us. But as you see over the next couple of years, those other claims start to roll off of our EMOD, then we should see premium drop a little bit. We have a motion and a second. If there's no questions or further discussions, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The last item on our agenda is the temporary easement that I have the ability to sign for the AEP electrical work going on in the park. They want permanent construction easements to maintain their lines and whatnot. And I know that we talked about this a little bit. The sheriff was here. So the ask is for me to be able to sign the permanent easement when you're dealing with property. Of course, the council has to take action on it. I can do something on a temporary basis. But the ask is to allow the mayor to sign the permanent easement for AEP for the lines going to the new tower site.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Is there any further discussion, questions, or otherwise? I think we got a pretty good education the last meeting. If hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We're in the comments and closing remarks for council members. I really don't have anything other than to say for our guys who've been working on this heat. Like I said a few minutes ago, commendable that they're watching out for each other, supervisors taking care of their employees, and for the internal staff. I mean, our budget is, we had an increase in our budget after our last budget revision. So as I've always said, John, thanks for taking care of our finances the way that you do, and that goes to our supervisors and folks helping us get grant money, and all those people who are helping that bottom line. I just want to say that I appreciate all those folks for that. So Rachel, you're up.
Thank you all for being here tonight, and Jacob, I just wanted to let you know, anytime you have any questions or anything, feel free to stop by. Anytime that you get any complaints from anybody, feel free to tell them our phones are always on, our doors are open, they can come talk to us anytime. So, thanks for stopping by today. Lacey, thank you for always getting us grant money and doing your job to the best of your ability. It doesn't go unnoticed. I really appreciate you. Darren, I wanted to thank you and all of your guys. Like Chris said, that wreck on July 4th was such a tragedy, and I can't even imagine being on the scene of that. As far as police officers, the firefighter, anybody, it'd just be awful. So thank them again for all of us, and I really appreciate what you all do. Thank you.
John, how many line items do we have?
You mean revenue line item?
Yeah, just like how many different lines are you taking care of?
Well, last time that I can recall, it was over 2,500 different lines.
That's amazing. That is just amazing. I just have my one about you.
Yeah. Well, we have 22 check-ins.
And sometimes it needs
so.
revisions too. That is crazy. I'm always amazed at how you have to come in and you have to take this money here and you didn't, we made more money or we made less money and I'm always like, what is that green, you had one of those green sheets like
Yeah.
we used to have. You'd be taping that a mile long. Thank you for all you do. Lacey, thank you for finding us money so then, the police and, everybody can spend it, so. There is, Danny, there's a water circle thing over on Peyton on the, Waterford side that is about 3 inches, dropped about 3 inches, that people are complaining about the tires.
Pothole?
Yeah, well, the water,
One of the manholes.
the manhole needs lifted.
Oh.
And, Rachel, I do think that, I don't think people realize that we're also responsible for New Home Elementary. And I think that would be a good newsletter thing too, is to let them know that the police are more than just these 3 schools, cause nobody realizes that that's part of us too, so they have a lot to take care of during the school season, so that's it for me.
Thank you for that, because I was confused when you said 3 earlier.
Rick, you're up, sir. Chief, in my neighborhood, I've been seeing more police presence. I don't know if that's going all through town, but it does make a difference, but to all of us, we live in this village or whatever, but that does make a difference, and I want to say thank you for that, but, I've seen one in the morning, one in the afternoon, but it does make a difference, and I want to say thank you for that, but to the city. But anyway, I would, thank you guys for coming, I appreciate y'all, same as we all here, any problems, questions, whatever, feel free to call us anytime. Thank you guys for coming.
I just wanna thank all parties involved with the resource officer. I know it's been important to quite a few of us, and I'm glad to see we're still to keep it going at the middle school and increase at the elementary, so thanks to the Board of Education for allowing us to work with them, and then everyone who made it happen. I appreciate it. I think it's very important that we provide that service. So,
I don't have much. Another beautiful day in the village, but I would like to ask about, I noticed that they're putting a new roof on the housing apartments over there, and I was wondering if, I know we had the gentleman that's in charge or whatever stop in some time ago, and we were trying to get to a point where he could, push the property to build a new facility for the housing authority. Do you have any update on anything?
Yeah,
like
we're still, Ted as Secretary of Veterans Affairs, we've gotten back on the horn with him. There's a couple of things in the hopper that have been requested for adjacent to where that property would be. The property you're talking about being re-roofed is the, Millie Jean Apartments, not the Housing Authority, Village Manor. But those folks and the Housing Authority both, permitting is all in place when they have to do those projects, but, the property issue is back on the burner with the Veterans Affairs, Secretary of Veterans Affairs. So we're still trying to get them to.
So we don't have a timeline on anything?
Well,
It's been in the hopper for, seemed like.
Yeah,
for a long time.
we've asked several times,
Yeah.
and as you know, the first secretary he passed away, the second secretary got replaced to Ted. Ted's been there about a year and a half, I think Ted's been about a year and a half, but, that is back in discussion phase again. So, then I hate to say this, I don't wanna put it off on the state, but we can only ask, they can only act when they decide to act, but he himself is on board with doing that. We've just gotta figure out a way to do it. We finally got the property taken care of at the park through a long process. that required an act of the legislature. I'm not sure how this works with veterans property, I'm not, so this is gonna be new territory for me too.
Yeah, okay. I've got one other thing. I honestly, I'd like to acknowledge, Larry Brumfield. You know, if you look at the portrait behind you, that portrait was accepted in a art exhibit that's going on in Charleston. You know, there's not that many, you know, there's a lot of entries, and there's not that many that get accepted. And, you know, it's, of course, you know, he told me that he spent a day or two out there making these pictures. Well, I can go out there and make different things would be done in 15 minutes probably. But, you know, somebody put that kind of time and effort into something like that and is resident of Barboursville, and and it looks great. And I would love to see, I know he's offered to have it posted in, you know, in City Hall or wherever room could be found and everything. And it's, you know, he also had another exhibit at the Huntington Museum of Art recently. And so I'd just like to acknowledge that, you know, we have the artiste extraordinaire here among us, and
Wow.
he does good work, and you know, it's worth a note.
I'm glad that you beat me to it. I was gonna tell her to make sure to take a look at it. And actually, our senior center director has a project in that juried exhibition in Charleston too. It is a big deal. I've been up there several times with the elementary school kids. I haven't been for the opening. I think I'm gonna get to go to the opening this time. But during the time that juried exhibition is going on, there's submissions from everywhere. And it's a pretty neat thing to have someone from town to have a piece in the juried exhibition, and to have someone from our own family here in the village that works with us to have a piece up there too. It's a super event. Congratulations, as I told you before. We'll make sure to congratulate Sharon, but please take a second if you have a minute to look at that piece that Larry's done for the juried exhibition. I myself wouldn't mind to have one for City Hall myself. So I know that those are gonna be for sale. I know that Sharon's indicated some interest as well from Larry, but please take a second to take a look at it. It's a pretty neat thing. So if there's nothing else to come before the council this evening, you guys good? All right, we will adjourn the meeting. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you for your comment.